There is a man in El Poblado tonight, 61 years old, sitting at a table for two with one empty chair. He is fit for his age. He has money. He has been coming to Colombia for 6 years. He has dated maybe 40 women here, and he has never once been within a mile of marrying any of them. 4 blocks away, in a much smaller apartment, there is a man with a bad haircut and a pension of $2,200 a month. He got married in April. Her mother cried at the wedding, and not the polite kind of crying. The difference between those two men is not money. It is not looks. It is not Spanish, and it is not confidence, and it is not whatever the forums told you to work on. It is that one of them is one of the 4 types, and the other one is not. And after 6 years, he still does not know there are types. I am Alma. I am Colombian. By the end of this, you will know exactly which of the 4 you are, or which one you are closest to becoming, because not one of these is something a man is born as. Every one of them is a decision, usually made more than once, usually at the moment it was least convenient. Before we continue, please subscribe to my channel so you do not miss any future videos. The first type surprises men, because it has almost nothing to do with who he is and almost everything to do with where he stands. The first type is the man who moved toward her world instead of asking her to leave it. I do not mean he visited. Visiting is nothing. I mean he made her country a real place in his real life. He has a barber in Laureles who cuts his hair badly, and he keeps going back. He has an opinion about which bakery has the better pan de bono, and he will defend it. He knows which street floods when it rains in April. He has a pharmacy. He has a woman who does his laundry, and he knows her son's name. He is not a tourist with a long visa. He is a resident of her world, even if he only lives there half the year. The man who is not this type believes something very reasonable and completely wrong. He believes the thing he is offering is the exit. He thinks his value is the house in Georgia, the 2 cars, the safe suburb, the passport, the hospital that will not kill her. So he spends the relationship describing America. He shows her photos of his kitchen. He talks about how she will love the fall colors. He is proud of what he can give her, and every word of it lands somewhere he cannot see. He is describing an amputation and calling it a gift, and when she goes quiet, he thinks she is playing hard to get, or being ungrateful, or hiding something. Here is what he does not understand. She is not an individual the way you are an individual. That is not a criticism of either of you. It is a structural fact about 2 different societies. In your country, adulthood begins with leaving. The 18-year-old drives to a university in another state, and the whole family celebrates the departure, and if he still lives at home at 30, something has gone wrong. In Medellín, in Guadalajara, in Santo Domingo, a woman of 32 living with her mother is not a failure and is not a warning sign. It is often just love, plus economics, plus the fact that nobody ever explained to her that she was supposed to want to escape. Her mother is 8 minutes away. Her sister's children come over on Saturdays. The neighbor has known her since she was 4 and will comment on her weight without asking permission. That is not a support system she happens to have. That is the operating environment she runs on. We do not leave, not really. She can move, she can love you, she can build something beautiful in Ohio, and a part of her stays on that block forever, and it does not stop pulling. And here is the part that destroys good men. She will often say yes. She will say yes, because she loves you, because the math looks good, because her cousin says she is lucky, because she is 34 and tired. And then it is February, in a suburb outside Tampa, and there is no one within 1,000 miles who has known her longer than 9 months, and she cannot work yet, and she cannot drive yet, and the woman you met, the one who was so alive, who filled the room, who laughed with her whole body, that woman is sitting on your couch at 2 p.m. looking at her phone. And you think she changed. She did not change. You removed her from the thing that was making her that way, and now you are looking at her without it and calling it a personality problem. The men who are still married at year 8 did something different. Some of them moved, some split the year, 6 months there, 6 months here. Some never relocated at all, but built a life where her country is a second home instead of a place they used to fly to. The form varies, the substance does not. She was measuring, quietly, without ever telling you she was measuring, whether you were capable of existing in her world or only in your own. And if the answer is only your own, then the marriage is not a marriage. It is a relocation, and she will feel that in her body years before she can put it into words. And there is a harder version of this test that almost no man passes, because almost no man knows it is being administered. Anybody can come for December. December is lights and music and everyone's best self. The men who get married are the ones who were also there for the bad week, the week the grandmother went into the hospital, the week the brother lost the job, the week nothing was beautiful, and the family was just tired people in a hot kitchen making decisions. A man who is only present for the festival is a tourist, with a longer visa. A man who was in the waiting room at 4 a.m, useless, not understanding the doctor, holding somebody's purse. That man has been entered into the record permanently, and no amount of money buys the equivalent. This changes by region, and you should know how. A woman from Bogota, a Rolita, urban, professional, maybe she has already lived in Madrid for 2 years, is more portable. She has practiced being far from home. A woman from a pueblo outside Cali, or from Barranquilla where 40 relatives live inside a 6-block radius and the door is never closed, is not portable in the same way. Extract her, and you will lose her slowly, over 3 years, in a way you will never be able to point at. Not because she is weak, because you took her out of her infrastructure and expected the machine to keep running. Picture 2 men in the same December. Medellín in December is not a month, it is an event. The lights along the river, the whole city out walking at 11 at night, everybody's aunt cooking. The first man comes in late January, for 9 days, because the flights are cheap and he has vacation to burn. He does the rooftops, he does Guadape, he is charming, he leaves. The second man has spent 4 Decembers there. He is in the kitchen right now, badly chopping something, being laughed at by an aunt who has decided he is her project. He is laughing too, at a joke he only half understood. Her mother hands him a plate without asking whether he wants one, which is the highest honor available in that house. He is not a guest anymore. He is furniture. Furniture gets married. Stop selling America. She has seen America on the internet. Start proving you can live where she lives. Come at a time of year that costs you something. Stay long enough to be bored there, and let her watch you be an ordinary man on an ordinary Tuesday in her city. She is not looking for a way out. She is looking for a man who can come in. The second type is the man who is boring in exactly the right way. He does the same small things every day. He answers his phone. He writes in the morning. He remembers that her mother has an appointment on Tuesday, and he asks about it on Tuesday. He does not vanish. He has never once, not on purpose and not by accident, gone quiet for 3 days. The man who is not this type has done his homework, and that is the tragedy. He read the forums. He learned that he must not be too available, that he should be the prize, that he should create mystery and let her chase, that his attention must be a currency he spends carefully. So he waits 4 hours to reply to a message he read instantly. He goes cold on purpose after a good night to make her wonder. He is running a strategy designed for a market he is not standing in, against competitors who are not the ones he thinks, and it is costing him everything while he congratulates himself on his discipline. Understand what love looks like where she is from. It looks like details, the small daily attentions. Not the grand gesture, the message before she is awake. The "ya comiste," did you eat? Which is not a question about food. It is the entire language of care compressed into 2 words, the remembering, the showing up. In your country, love is proven with events, the trip, the ring, the surprise, the big night. Here, love is proven with frequency, and the grand gesture is actually a little suspicious, because anyone on earth can do one impressive thing one time. Anyone can be wonderful for a weekend. Almost nobody is findable for a year. And this is where the American man has an advantage he throws away with both hands. He thinks he is competing on charm. He is not going to win on charm. Charm is the local surplus here. It is everywhere. It costs nothing. It is in the air. There are men in this city who can make a woman feel like the only person alive for 6 weeks, and then evaporate on a Thursday, and reappear with an explanation so good she almost applauds. She has met him. Her sister married him. She watched her own mother wait by a phone for a man who was definitely coming back. Charm is not rare. Charm is cheap. The scarce good in this market is a man who does not disappear, and you can supply that just by being who you probably already are, without learning a single dance step. So when you go silent for 3 days to build tension, you are not building tension. An American woman might read that as intriguing. She reads it as the opening move of a pattern she has seen 11 times. She is not intrigued. She is filing you. And she will still be warm when you come back. She will still laugh. She will still let you take her to dinner. And something close that you will never see close. And 8 months later you will be telling a friend that these women are impossible to read. She is not testing whether you are exciting. She was never testing that. Every question about your ex, every small request, every ¿Dónde estás? At 10 at night, it is one single test wearing different clothes. And the test is, are you going to leave? That is it. That is the whole thing. There was a man who wrote to a woman every single morning for 11 months. Not poetry. 2 lines. Good morning. Sleep okay. Tell me when you eat. In month 5, something happened in her life. The details do not matter. It was bad and it was not about him. And she went cold. 6 weeks of one-word answers. He did not ask what was wrong. He did not escalate. He did not demand. He did not punish her with his own silence. And he did not send a long message about how he deserved better. He wrote in the morning like always. In week 7, she wrote back a real message. And what she told her sister on the phone that night was not, "He is so romantic." It was 4 words. Ese man no se fue. That man did not leave. That is the sentence that ends in a wedding. Delete the game. Pick 3 small things and do them every day for a year, without being asked and without keeping score, especially in the weeks when she is cold, because those are the only weeks that count as evidence. Charm gets you invited. Repetition gets you married. 2 down. Tell me honestly, have you recognized yourself yet? Or have you recognized the man you used to be? Leave it in the comments. I read all of them. The 3rd type is the man who understood he was not marrying one woman. He oriented himself toward the mother, toward the brother who does not like him, toward the household, the Sunday, the whole apparatus. He figured out early that the woman across the table was not the only party to the negotiation, and that she might not even be the deciding one. The man who is not this type is operating on the American contract, and the American contract is beautiful and clean. 2 adults choose each other, build a private life, and visit their families at Thanksgiving. So when her mother calls at 10 at night, and again at 10:15, he reads enmeshment. When he learns she sends $300 home every month, he reads a leak, maybe a scam, definitely a conversation they need to have. Some forum warned him about the family taking advantage. And so, gently, kindly, with genuinely good intentions, he starts to pull her toward him and away from them. He believes he is building a nest. He is cutting a root, and the tree will take 4 years to show it. We are not raised as individuals who happen to have families. We are raised as pieces of a family that happen to have names. Familia is not a category of relationship. It is the operating system everything else runs on top of, including you. When her mother is sick, she goes. She does not weigh it. She does not consult you. There is no decision being made that you were excluded from, because there was never a decision. And that money she sends is not charity, and it is not weakness. She started contributing at 15 or 17 out of her first job, and every peso since has been part of a contract she signed long before you existed. When you ask her to reduce it, you are not proposing a budget adjustment. You are asking her to be a bad daughter. You are asking her to choose. She will choose. It will not be a fight, and it will not be fast. It will be a slow cooling that you will misdiagnose for 2 years. And the mother is the gate. Not sentimentally, structurally. In Colombia, in Mexico, in the Dominican Republic, the doña decides. She will sit across from you for 4 hours, and she will not ask you a single direct question, and by the end, she will have reached a verdict, and that verdict is the entire thing. Your money will not move her much. She is usually less impressed by money than her daughter is, for the simple reason that she has seen more men and watched more of them go. What she is measuring is one thing. Will he still be here in 10 years? Is this a serious man? Un hombre serio, which does not mean humorless, it means load-bearing. And if she has a child, understand that the child is not an obstacle to the marriage. The child is the exam. You are being watched. By her, by the mother, by the aunt who says nothing, for one specific thing, and it is not whether you are good with kids, and it is not whether you buy him a bicycle. It is whether you are competing with him. Foreign men do this without knowing. They get quietly irritated that the boy sleeps in her bed, that she interrupts a dinner to take his call, that she will always, in any conflict, choose him. She will always choose him. That is not a flaw in the woman, that is the woman. And the man who cannot make peace with it will be gone in 2 years and will say he was used. The man who marries in is the one who stopped competing and started standing next to the boy, facing the same direction. The mistake men make here is trying to buy in. Gifts for everybody, dinner for 11, the new refrigerator. Careful. Generosity is good, but purchase is read instantly as purchase. And a man who buys the family is a man who is nervous, and a nervous man is not a serious man. What actually works is unglamorous and free. Presence. Being there when it is boring. Sunday lunch in Envigado. It starts at 1 and there is no end time, because ending is not a concept anyone has proposed. Sancocho. 3 conversations happening simultaneously at full volume. A television nobody is watching. A child asleep on somebody's lap. He speaks maybe 200 words of Spanish, and he is understanding approximately nothing. At 3 o'clock, the first man checks his phone and asks, kindly and reasonably, "When do you think we will head out?" And she says, "Soon, mi amor," and she means it. And she is not angry, but something in her has quietly written it down. The second man is still at that table at 6:40. His face hurts from smiling at jokes he did not catch. A niece is showing him TikToks he does not understand, and he is nodding like it is the most interesting thing he has seen all year. And from the kitchen doorway, drying a pot she already dried, her mother is watching him. She is not thinking about his pension. Go to the lunch, stay past the point where it is comfortable, because comfortable is not evidence, and treat what she sends home as a fixed cost of the marriage, like a mortgage, not a line item to be renegotiated once you are in. You are not asking one woman to marry you. You are applying to a household, and the mother is the one who reads the application. The fourth type is the man who refused to perform. He told the truth about what he was, early, out loud, without decorating it. His real age, his real money, his real health. The daughter who does not speak to him. The knee. He did not lead with it like a confession, and he did not hide it like a defect. He just put it on the table and kept eating. The man who is not this type is doing what any sensible man would do. He believes he must project abundance, because he believes abundance is what she is here for. If she finds out he is a retired HVAC technician with $2,400 a month and a knee that will not let him dance, she leaves, obviously. So he does not lie, exactly. He simply lets things be assumed. He picks up every check with a flourish. He mentions the properties, plural, when there is one and it is mortgaged. He says, "When I had my business," in a tone that implies something larger than it was. He thinks this is how he stays in the game. It is how he removes himself from it. We learn to read the face and not the words before we learn to read books at all. There is a phrase for this, malicia indigena, and it translates badly. Roughly, a street-level skepticism, a permanent readiness to find the real motive under the stated one. It is not cynicism, and it is not about you. It is a survival instrument, built over generations in places where the official story and the true story are almost never the same, where the man at the counter, the man in the uniform, and the man on the television are all telling you a version. A child learns to check the face against the words the way you learn to look both ways. So she detects the performance almost immediately. Not the specifics. She cannot audit your accounts. But she reads the shape of a man who is managing an impression, and she reads it in the first 2 hours. And here is what men never understand. When she detects it, she does not conclude high value. She concludes one of 2 things. He is lying, or he is a mark. Both of those are fine for a season. Neither of them is a husband. A liar cannot be planned around, and a mark can be enjoyed. And if you are being enjoyed as a mark, you will feel like you are winning, right up until the day you are not there anymore. Now watch what the honest man does. 3rd date, and before she has asked anything, he says the true version. "I am 58. I have $2,400 a month, and it goes a long way here, and almost nowhere at home. I have a daughter who does not talk to me, and I do not fully blame her. My knee is finished, so I am never going to dance with you, not once, not at the wedding. This is what I actually have." And the thing that happens next is not rejection, it is relief, physical relief, because now she can stop working. She can put the reading down. Every conversation until that moment was labor, checking the face against the words, running the story against the story, and she has been doing it since she was 9, and she is tired. You just ended her shift. No man had ever done that before. And understand the second gift, the one that is actually for you. Honesty is the cheapest filter you will ever run in your life. The women who wanted the invented man will leave, quickly, politely, within 2 weeks. And you should let them go with a full heart, because that is not a loss, that is the mechanism working exactly as designed. You cannot filter for a woman who wants what you actually are while you are pretending to be something else. Every man who was ever used was first performing. He built the trap, he baited it, he climbed inside, and then he blamed the country. And there is a symmetry here that men never get told, so I will tell you. She is performing too. Of course she is. She is being the woman with no needs, no bad days, no opinions about where you eat. Agreeable, sunny, easy, perfect. She learned that performance the same place you learned yours, from being afraid that the real one is not enough. And it holds for about 18 months, and then it collapses, because nobody can carry it longer than that, and the man calls it a bait and switch, and goes home and writes a post about it. It was not a switch. It was exhaustion. The only thing on earth that ends her performance early, while there is still time, while it is still a courtship and not a marriage full of a stranger, is watching you end yours first. She will not go first. She has never gone first in her life. You go first, and she follows within a month, and then you find out who you have actually been talking to. A man in Roma Norte in Mexico City did this at a small table on a Wednesday. He had been doing the flourish, the checks, the vague properties, all of it, for 3 dates. And then, in the middle of dinner, for no reason he could explain later, he stopped and said the real numbers out loud. There was a long pause. She stirred her coffee and did not look up. Then she said, "Okay, now I know who I am having dinner with." And she called her sister that night, and she did not say he is poor. She said, "Me dijo la verdad sin que yo preguntara." He told me the truth without me asking. In that language, that sentence means, this one might be real. Say the true number, the true age, the true limitation, before she asks, before the 3rd date, before you have had time to become attached to the version of you that she likes. Then let it cost you the wrong women, and count that cost as tuition. She was never going to marry the man you invented. She was only ever going to marry the one you actually are. Look at the 4 of them standing together, and you will see they are not 4 men at all. They are one move, performed in 4 different rooms. The man who came in December, the man who wrote every morning, the man who was still at the table at 6:40, the man who said his real number out loud. Every one of them did the identical thing. He showed up as a real, findable, checkable human being inside her actual world, and then he stayed put long enough to be verified. And the men who do not marry are not bad men. That is the part the forums get wrong, and it is why those forums are full of angry men who are still alone. They are not bad, they are performing. They came here to be a version. Richer, freer, younger, harder to get. The prize, finally the prize after 20 years of not being the prize. And I understand exactly where that comes from, and it is the one thing that cannot work here, because she is not shopping for a version. She has versions. She is surrounded by versions. They are charming and they are everywhere. What is rare, what is almost impossible to find in her city, on her block, in her whole life, is a man who is one single thing all the way through, and who is still there in April. She is not choosing the best man who came. She is choosing the one she could finally stop reading. And when a man understands this, you can see it happen in his body. The audition ends. He stops calculating what to reveal and when. He stops timing his replies. He stops asking whether she is real, not because he found proof, but because he stopped being fake. And it turns out that question was always about him. He gets simple, he gets a little boring, he gets married. And what she gives him then is the thing nobody warned him about. Entrega, the total surrender, the whole self handed over, which she does not give to the man who impressed her and cannot be pulled out early with money or pressure or patience. It arrives on its own schedule, and its schedule begins the day she stops reading you. So which of the 4 are you? Wrong question. Not one of these is a personality. The right question is, which one you are willing to become, and whether you are willing to start before December. Creating these videos takes real time alongside my full-time work, so if you are getting value from this, please support the channel by subscribing. It tells the algorithm to show this to more men who need it. See you in the next video.